Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope everybody has had a great day so far. I've found today to be a bit chilly. I'm at home in my flat, but I have been outside in this chilly weather, yes, and I was watching my son and his girlfriend do a bit of fishing. They came down all the way from London to do a spot of fishing here in Rochester. I went out in a sweatshirt with my New York top on, and I had my Camden hat on, and I didn't realise that it was windy outside. So all of a sudden my Camden hat blew off, and I would imagine that it blew off into the water. The water flew off into the Medway River, the murky Medway River. So it's gone upstream somewhere, or downstream, wherever you call it. So I took Max out about, must have been 11:30, getting on for 12 o'clock. And I had a text message. And my son told me he'd arrived. And normally I go to the railway station and I meet my son at the railway station. So I went out to the railway station and my son wasn't there. He wasn't there at the station. So I phoned my son up on WhatsApp and I said, "Where are you? I can't see you. I don't know where you are." And he said he was down Rochester High Street. And he said he'd lost his coat. He'd lost his coat. So he'd lost his coat. And he was upset that he'd lost his coat, naturally. So I saw my son and his girlfriend coming down Rochester High Street. And they were going into Bernardo's to look for a coat. The charity shops down Rochester High Street. Now, I went to the charity shops in Strood yesterday. I went to the cancer charity shop in Strood. That's where I went. I went to Strood. I went to the library, Rochester Library, and I went to Strood to have a look in the charity shop and the pound shop. I did. My son didn't see anything in Bernardo's, so we went across the cancer research in Rochester High Street, and my son found a lovely black raincoat in there, and it fit him perfectly. And it was really weird because my son found a tea bag in the pocket. Seriously. My son found a tea bag in the pocket of his raincoat that he bought in the cancer research shop. Staring in front of me was this top. £3. Caution, I have no filter. Bright pink. And I asked my son if he could pick that up for me because I'd come outside without my purse. And he kindly got me this top, which I'm going to put on tomorrow, I expect. And we all then walked up to Rochester Riverside, and I got a newspaper in the Co-op. Now China is handed access to NHS medical records. Data from 500,000 GP patient files available to Chinese researchers despite security fears. And I got a meal deal. And I had 2 eggs in a pot. And I've got this. I've got a tuna crunch sub roll and innocent smoothie juice. Right. So my son had brought down 2 fishing rods, and me and his girlfriend went up to the top of the riverside, and Max was with us for a few hours. And my son tried to catch fish off, catch fish with his fishing rod. And he caught some seaweed, but he didn't manage to catch any fish. No. I'm going to tell you everything that happened because I suffer from depression and anxiety. And I just want to tell you what happened. Some guys from Norse, Norse, arrived, and they stood on that little silver steps, and they were affixing an orange life buoy to the steps. You know, a life buoy. Well, when someone falls over into the water, you throw the life buoy to catch them, or you put it round your neck in a boat situation in case you fall overboard. So they were affixing a life buoy to the steps. Meanwhile, we have got people living on the field. I don't know whether they're homeless or not, but there are 3 or 4 tents on the field with people in them. And they'd obviously gone somewhere, and they'd come back with 4 bags of like their belongings or shopping, and they leaned a bicycle up against the rail. Right? I'm a woman in my 50s. I don't pinch people's bicycles. I don't want other people's shopping. I have disabilities as well. I found it very cold outside. The wind was blowing in my ears. I could have gone home at any time, but I was obviously concerned about my son and his girlfriend, because my son was actually stood, excuse me, this barking guy. My son was stood on near over the ledge. He was stood fishing right on top of the ledge. So I stayed with my son and his girlfriend until he stopped fishing. Then my son said to me, he was going to be about 20 minutes, did I want to go to my home and take Max back? So I took Max back, and of course I'm expecting things in the post. I'm expecting things in the mail. I'm expecting, my mum said she'd sent me a letter in the post. And I came home and I was frozen. I was absolutely frozen. I was shivering. And I had wind stuck in my ears. But it was my choice because I was worried about my son stood on the ledge. So my ears were like blocked. I went into my mailbox, right, and I'd rung my mother on the field. I'd rung her up, and she was in a terrible mood. Jennifer was in an absolutely terrible mood. I just said to her, I said, have you washed your hair? What are you talking about? I said, have you washed your hair? I said, I washed my hair yesterday. I said, are you going to wash your hair again next week? No, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to wash my hair. I said, don't shout at me. I said, I'm asking you a question. And she was all snappy and angry. And I put the phone down because I don't want to be shouted at. I've gone through a lot myself. My mother is a pensioner. She is 79 years old. She's 80 on the 14th of May. She was claiming pension credit, I believe. Jennifer gets a pension. I was on ESA, I might as well tell you that now, Employment Support Allowance with a disability element. I get this letter in the post, so the post is working. This was sent on the 11th of April. 11th of April this was sent. way before my mum's letter was sent out, and it's come from, I don't know. It doesn't actually. Where's it come from? Excuse me. It doesn't actually say where it's come from. But I've checked it's kosher because I filled this in online. I've done it. It's a migration notice. A migration notice. So they're transferring me, Crystal, from employment support allowance to universal credit. And you know how harsh that was in the beginning. People putting onto universal credit, waiting months to get their money, 4 or 5 weeks to get their money, and the hardship that went on. So they're transferring me from ESA to universal credit. And I've told my son about it, and I suffer from anxiety and depression, and I thought, oh my God, because the bit that fucking, people suffer, they should rewrite these things. If you are nearing end of life because of a health condition, read it. This is what I get in the mail. If you are nearing end of life because of a health condition, if your doctor has said you might have less than 12 months to live due to a health condition, I can call them. Me. Remember that my father was on end of life care, Derek was, before he died. He was on end of life care. Derek was. But he was claiming pension, and he had a job with Brompton Barracks, and he had a little pension as well. So he had a pension from a job, and I don't go to work. So this is what it says to me. Universal Credit Migration Notice. You will soon stop getting the following benefits. Housing benefit, income-related employment and support allowance. You must claim universal credit to keep receiving financial support. So I filled the online form, and I don't have a passport, and I don't have a driving license. So I'm going to have to see someone in person to verify my identity. Universal Credit is going to ring me up in the next couple of days to confirm my identity. My mother Jennifer is a pensioner. Right, so they're going to call me up. There is no way that I can go to work. My son confirms this. Right, there isn't. I'm on strong painkillers for a start, and I'm dizzy. I nearly fainted in the co-op because I have nerve damage to my face, and I was getting wind in my ears, and you can see on the TV footage in there that I was wobbly on my feet. There's no way I could go to work at all. So I now have to, I'm in my 50s, by the way. I'm nearly 60. And if they're trying to get years of work out of me, they won't get very many anyway. But this is what they're doing. They're transferring people over from ESA to universal credit, and they're stopping PIP, personal independent payments, to some disabled and sick people. So I'm expecting a call from universal credit in the next couple of days to verify my identity. I'm going to have to take an advance out or something of that nature, so that I can, otherwise my rent is going to get stopped. So I'm going to have to start paying the rent myself out of my benefits, which is new to me, so I'll need help to know how to do that. So when I have a word with the person on the phone, I'm going to need some help and support here, because I've been on ESA for years. Right? So that sort of like made me a bit, what the hell? What am I going to do here, like? So I went back out to my son. I told him, and he said he's had that, and he told me what to do. I filled the universal credit form in, and I'm going to wait for their call, and I'm going to have to apply to have financial help, because otherwise the rent won't get paid. There's that. So I went back out, and of course I was feeling like shit, but I didn't lose my temper, didn't get cross, held myself together. And my son, myself, and his girlfriend went into Costa Coffee, and I was hungry, and I ordered myself a wrap, and I got myself a strawberries and cream frappe. Now I'm going to tell you this because it's relevant. I feel like I'm being stalked by people in this block of flats and watched, and some of them are youths, kids. While I was sat down having my strawberries and cream frappe and my wrap, two tenants out of this flat were stood outside Costa Coffee. Two of the tenants' children. One was on a bicycle, a boy, and I assume it was either his sister or girlfriend, and she had a pair of sunglasses, and she was a lot younger than me. And my son turned round and said something was stinky. Stinky. Right, I'm only saying. I carried on sitting there, and then my son, myself and his girlfriend went into the co-op, and my son kindly bought me a drink because I was thirsty after the coffee and the food. Right? I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm being stalked by the neighbours. And I've said that, haven't I? I want to move out. I've bid on a property, and my son said he'd help me move. This all starts with my mother ringing up yesterday saying that she had not washed her hair for 2 weeks. Not me. Now I'm going to have a shower tomorrow. I'm going to have a shower. And then when I next have a shower, I'll come out of the shower and show you that I've had a shower. So tomorrow I'm having a shower. It was a male and a female from this block of flats outside Costa Coffee when my son turned round and started talking about something stinky. And there are homeless on the field, and I'm not one of them, and I feel sorry for homeless people. There are 4 tents on that field, and they're all dressed. How they are managing to wash and live in a tent, I don't know. There's about 4 or 5 of them living in tents on the Rochester Riverside field, and the council walked past them. North did. Just walked past them. They were giggling and laughing, 2 men. And one of them looked like the next door neighbour with the bald head. The one that told me to fuck off and fucking move. But he didn't tell it exactly to me, he told his dog to fuck off. when I came back from Costa Coffee into my flat, my neighbour's car, the Ford Mondeo, was parked outside the bottom apartment. Now, I don't drive and I don't have a passport. That's why they've got to check my identity. And I'm expecting a call from Universal Credit in the next couple of days. Why am I being stalked by neighbours? Well, I'm going to have to go for an interview to claim Universal Credit. Face-to-face interview, apparently. Here's my hair. It's washed every 2 days. I am an older person, so I've got bits of grey in it, and there's no shame in that. You go on TikTok, there's women showing their grey hair in their 40s, their late 30s, right? Just because you've got bits of grey, it doesn't mean you're fucking dirty. I mean, grow up. We don't all stay young forever, do we? Yeah, I'm going to be on Universal Credit. I've made 10,000 videos on YouTube and I'm on Universal Credit. And someone's been stealing my content and making money from it. It's nothing to be proud of, is it? I should be rich, not poor. The amount of money they've been making off of me. I'm going to go now. I've had something to eat. I'm not angry. I'm going to continue to be a nice person. Anybody that is being derogatory towards me will get what they deserve, and it's called karma. See you later.